SAA beat the brave Zimbabwe and the Boks bashed a bold Barbarians. Took me about 10 minutes to learn how to say that right. These are my thoughts about the SAA game against Zimbabwe and the Bok game against the Barbarians. Firstly, I want to start off with the SAA game. How good was Zimbabwe, actually? I was so surprised about just how much they fronted up physically, how much they actually just gave it to us. They were there, they were passionate, they were wanting a fight. And yes, they caught 40, and yes, they didn't score any tries, and it doesn't look great. But I don't think that scoreline truly reflects how much they really pulled their weight in that match. And I was super happy with Zimbabwean rugby, to be honest. I mean, they bashed us over. They had dominant tackles. They were maybe a bit sloppy, maybe a bit overzealous sometimes. Maybe that was their biggest downfall, was that they actually were trying a bit too hard sometimes, just not being as clinical as in their execution, being a bit sloppy. But I also think that the SAA team were obviously incredibly good. I mean, the amount of talent that we had in that team, although it was extremely young, they had diapers sponsored for them because of how young they were. That's just a reflection of how good we did in that match as well. I do think it was a bit messy on all sides. It felt very stop-starty at a lot of times. Neither team could get a lot of rhythm and flow going, despite 40 points, obviously. But I think my standout players would be Luan Giliolomi. Apologies for that pronunciation. Please correct me in the comments. But I think he was just class. I mean, he was so calm. Everything he did just felt like it was dipped in gold. He did so well. He's been compared to Patrick Lambie, who's genuinely my favorite player of all time. And I can see why. They have similar cool, calm-headedness about them. And I think it's a massive compliment to give that to Luan. So I hope he continues with that form. I hope he continues being such a star player. My next biggest winner from that match was Lucanio who looked so incredible. Lucanio, he's been injured for a while. He's been in and out of the Boks squad for the last couple of years, not quite maintaining his position there. But he just looked really experienced. He was a calm old head in such a young team. That was so necessary. I mean, we joke that he's the babysitter, but he really was. And he fulfilled that role really well. He looked classy. He looked like Lucanio, silky smooth, just pulling in insane moves. Sometimes not always going his way. He got charged down with a couple of his little dink over the tops. But, I mean, still, you can't fault Lucanio for anything. He played super duper well. And obviously, the next name is a household at this point. It's Siaya. Zeketelo Siaya. He's looking so great. Despite a freak accident with catching a boot to the face, I mean, he looked really well. So we hope him a speedy recovery and that he will be back to his ways soon enough, because SA Rugby needs him, whether that's for the under-20s, for the Boks, for the Sharks, hopefully for the Sharks for a while. We need him in all facets of SA Rugby. I think in general, as I said, the game was a bit messy, but I do think Zimbabwe should have scored a try. I was actually kind of rooting for Zimbabwe to score a try at some point, because I just felt like their passion deserved some reward. So maybe next time. Apparently they're going to the Americas for some matches there, and I wish them all the best. Moving on to the Barbarians versus Boks game, I want to start off by saying well done to the Barbarians. I mean, they caught 80 points, which is not great, but it's the Barbarians. I mean, they came out here, they shredded our defense, they scored about 5 tries, 3 of them in like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. It was literally going from kickoff to kickoff. That's just, it was crazy. I was getting a little bit worried at one point in that first half, but obviously I knew the Boks were going to pull it back in the end. But what a wonderful testament that we have such a thing as the Barbarians in our game. It's unlike anything else in any sport. It's tradition, it's banter, it's drinking, but whatever. But how cool is that we have that in our sport? And I know a lot of people are critiquing it, like, why do we have this? But I still think that the Barbarians should
maintain in our sport. Despite the professional era, the Barbarians, I think, is a very necessary amateur grounding effect in rugby. And I think it just helps us to keep our head out of the clouds. I know this sounds weird, like, oh, it's just a team. No, it's not just a team. It's exactly what rugby represents. Meeting new guys, forming memories, having a bit of banter, playing some classy rugby, because they played incredibly well. Their attack was insane. And that's something that the Boks will have to look at there. The Bok defense against a very quick, offloads, that kind of attack. We need to maybe tighten up a little bit, but it's good because it shook off our rust. I think that, to name some names, Fussy didn't have the greatest game. I think he needs a little bit more game time, a little bit more practice. He's been injured for a while. He's been injured for a while. He hasn't been playing at his best, maybe. So I do think it just didn't look like anything went his way. Anything he tried, he always didn't quite execute it 100%, despite 100% effort. So, not for lack of effort, but I do think Fussy needs a little bit more time, I guess. A player that needs to be mentioned is Kewan Horn. Taking on the fly half position for the first time in his professional career. I don't know if he's played there at schoolboy or anything like that, but he looked good, but I do think he's significantly better at fullback. Maybe he could be a hybrid, can slot into that 10 position at some stage. Maybe, I don't know, he and Sasha can do something, but yeah, I just think that Kewan is much better at fullback, although he did a solid job at fly half. He looked good with ball in hand, but I prefer him at that fullback position. I think we can utilize him better there. But it was a good experiment. Like, it wasn't a failure at all. The next name, the fly half who I think stood out more than most of the team, was Vusi Moyo. I think he was so excellent. He just looked so calm and collected. He was smooth. His passes were pinpoint. His attack was incredible. His kicks were phenomenal. Even though he didn't get to kick at goal, well, he got the last kick at goal. But yeah, I think he's just the perfect answer for fly half for my beloved Sharks, but also for the Boks going forward. I do think that he is such a talent. And how can I not mention Cheslin Colby, the GOAT? Genuinely, he is the most valuable player in any team, in any rugby team, in any sport, actually. He's the most valuable player. He can kick for goals, he can play wing, he can act as a scrum half, he can throw in a line out, he can do it all except for maybe reach the top shelf. But that's okay because he has his mate Earburn to do it for him. Those are the kinds of things that we need. Is just a player who just does it all. I mean, we're just very blessed to have him, honestly. We are so blessed to have a Cheslin in our team because not everyone has a Cheslin, and we do, so we better. And I am so happy that Fuffy got to play. I love Fuff, and like all the women in PE tend to agree because he got a massive applause when he came on, and it was mainly female. But I just think he's such a wonderful player. I mean, his blonde locks floating around the field, just looking like a busy bunny. He is so incredible. I was very sad to see that he's not mentioned in the 46-man squad for the Nations Cup, because I know that Rassi likes to do the partnerships for scrum half and fly half, but my thinking was, we know that Grant and Mani are usual partners, and Kobus and Sasha are usual partners, but my thinking was surely Faf and Pollard would be the best partnership with Morne Vandenberg out at the moment, as opposed to Herschel. Nothing against Herschel, obviously, but maybe Faf would be, a little bit better option. Although there is Ambrose Papier, so maybe Ambrose Papier and Andre will be the main pairing, with Herschel taking up the replacement spot if one of the scrum halves get injured. But I don't know. Rassi knows, so in Rassi we trust, and I'm sure he'll do the right thing. My captain, Sia Kolisi, how good was he? What a baller. I mean, he, on that outside channel for that first try, he was so good. And I know the Sharks like to play him in that role as well. It's just that the Sharks suck, so we don't do it as well. But he just looked so incredible. I mean, that pass, the draw in, the physicality, he did it all. And he helped create that first try to a great extent. And it's incredible to see, not to mention all of his other dirty work that he does, hitting rucks, tackling. I mean, he was so good. Speaking of someone who's tackling and doing the dirty work, Riley Norton, the youngster, he's been grabbing headlines, and that's for a reason. He is so good. And I mean, this past weekend, he was doing the dark arts, really. He was tackling, he was hitting rucks, he was physically imposing himself on people. I do think, yes, he's young, and he could put on a little bit more weight, although I'm not exactly one to judge him. But I do think maybe a little bit more bulk, if he wants to be in that enforcer role, would be good. But I do see a very huge potential to be the next PTSD, Pieter-Steph du Toit. That kind of leaner build, he can be a lock, but I think he can also transition into a loose forward. PSDT started at the lock position and obviously moved on to loose forward. So I think that Riley Norton could do a very similar path as Pieter-Steph. For the physicality mentioned, Andre the Giant, what a guy. I mean, he's my Sharks captain a lot of the time. He's so good. He's just bashing people over. It was so satisfying watching him score that try. It was amazing. This is exactly why people like rugby, because there's a big man running at another big man and just telling him to sit down. That's just, it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous to watch. And I genuinely think that no one does it better than Andre Esterhuizen. He's so physically imposing. We are blessed that we have genuinely, I think, the two best number 12s in the world, and they're both fighting for the same spot. So wonderful. Now, a little bit of a drawback, I think that the second half scrum was a little bit iffy. I mean, we conceded a penalty against the Barbarians, which I know doesn't necessarily mean that there was a complete system failure. Sometimes things happen, someone slips or something like that. But I just don't think we quite imposed ourselves as much as we wanted to in that second half in the scrum. I don't think it will be too much of a concern for the future because it's difficult to gauge against the Barbarians team, stuff like that. But it's just an important thing to note. Speaking of solidly, though, I forgot to mention Jesse Creel. My guy, Jesse Creel, went to my home school, Maritzburg College as well. What a legend. I mean, he's so good. He was just solid as always. And I think we forget how much of a captain's role he also plays in that team. He's really, really good. He's a glue for that team, seriously. He's solid in defense. He was instrumental in the attack. He just played all around really, really solidly. Even if he didn't quite get as much glamour as the other people. Other people like Edward van der Merwe, who will be my last specific mention of this video. And I mean, he won man of the match for a reason. He played extremely well. He finished really well. Yeah, you could argue that the rest of the team, gifted him those tries. They created opportunities for him to go in and do his little thingy-majiggy. But yeah, I think it was really cool to just see Edward in his element. Really, he was flying through. He was running his lines well. He got the ball. He was finishing extremely cleanly. That's exactly what Edward can do. He's really taking his claim in that Springbok team. He's telling us and the rest of the world that he belongs at the top, and I truly believe that he does. So it's very difficult selection headache for Rassie, whether to choose Cheslin, Kirtley and Edward and Cheslin. Any sort of derivation of that, I think, will be fine, to be honest. I mean, we're so blessed with those wing stocks. Not to mention, we have a couple of guys coming back from injury, coming from the Bulls to help us out there. So really fantastic to see. No, I thought the game was fantastic. I love Barbarians matches, and I think the one last year was a little bit disappointing because it got rained out a bit. This is exactly what a Barbarians match should be. It was high scoring, it was fast paced, it was exciting, and it's, I think, what the fans wanted from this game. It's an exciting occasion. That's what it should be, an occasion. It's a day out to celebrate rugby. Stadium wasn't full, and that's a little bit of a bummer, but I also think that's because most South Africans are being priced out of seeing the Boks play. It was like 1,000 rand for a ticket. That's kind of crazy. 1,000 rand. That's like a tank of petrol for a small car. That's crazy to go watch a rugby match. That is very expensive. And yes, I know it's a business. Yes, I know that SA Rugby needs to make profit and whatnot. But I mean, come on. There should be something done so that more fans can see, so we can fill up these stadiums. We can fill up these stadiums. We have the numbers. We have the interest. SA Rugby is doing fantastically well. Rugby in this country is peaking. It's so popular right now. It's incredible that the nation is rallied around the sport this much. And yet we're pricing our fans out of seeing it firsthand. That's not good. And lastly, this is just my last thing about my little rant, is how awful that Barbarians jersey looked. I mean, it had the classic white and black stripes. Perfect. It was old school style. It looked so clean with the ugliest Yes Play logo, orange in front of the chest, across the front of the chest.
It was genuinely gross.
I hated that jersey. If I was a Barbarians player, I would just rip that logo straight off the front and just keep the jersey, because that was disgusting, really. Anyway, besides that, it was a beautiful weekend of rugby. I love the Springboks. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your days. Cheers.